Now, it's not often we get visits from high-profile Hollywood writers and actors here on this show, but this episode is going to be an exception. Bob and Bill Odenkirk grew up in the Chicago suburbs, and they've built careers as top Hollywood comedy writers. Two-time Emmy winner Bob Odenkirk launched his career writing for Second City in Chicago, and then Saturday Night Live and Late Night with Conan O'Brien. He started acting in The Ben Stiller Show and had a recurring role in The Larry Sanders Show. Odenkirk created and starred in the HBO sketch comedy series Mr. Show with Bob and David from 1995 to 1998. He's best known these days for his role playing the shady lawyer Saul Goodman on the AMC series Breaking Bad and the spin-off Better Call Saul. In 2025, he released the action film Nobody 2, which follows the success of the first Nobody film. Bob's younger brother Bill Odenkirk had a much different route to comedy's top writer ranks. Bill Odenkirk was drawn to science after high school, earning a PhD in inorganic chemistry before he began pursuing comedy writing. He joined his brother Bob as a writer for Mr. Show and then went on to write episodes of Tenacious D, Futurama, and many episodes of The Simpsons. More recently, he's written episodes of the Netflix animated series Disenchantment. Bill and Bob Odenkirk, welcome to Prairie Fire.
Hi.
Thank
Good
you.
to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. You guys grew up in Naperville, Illinois, and from what I've read, you were kind of raised by a really dynamic mother and a father who was kind of not so dynamic. And you know, I found
What's the opposite of dynamic?
I guess you wrote a bit of your mother's obituary. It says, as great and committed as Barbara was as a mother, Walter was her polar opposite and never seemed fully committed to the enterprise of having and raising a passel of antecedents. So how do you think that difference between your mom and dad kind of helped you all kind of become, especially in the comedy
like
department?
Most guys, when you grow up, you try to be the opposite of your dad. So that meant we worked really hard.
And we had fewer children.
And we had fewer children. So. And you know, I think we to be sort of like honest in a way that's very personal. We're both sort of deeply responsible people, and so are many of our brothers and sisters. It's almost like we're that's actually a challenge, right? Is like I don't know about you, if you think the same thing.
I think I think it taught us a negative positive lesson to sort of be present for your family and responsible.
But you can overdo that too.
Right,
you know
of course
what I mean?
you can.
And of course we will, and then our kids will do the opposite.
Yeah.
So it's
the wonderful cycle
yes.
of life carries on.
It's kind of, you know, and you also kind of allude to, you know, the great things about growing up. It was a lovely...
We had a great time, and we had a lot of tension. In the background was tension and uncertainty, and then in the foreground was laughter and goofing around and energy and
my mom had. Well, we should say there were 7 children in the family, so my mom. It was like growing up in the army. You kind of like had to obey orders, and then you were kind of forgotten about. So we had a lot of freedom. Just spent days doing whatever we wanted. Naperville was a pretty safe town, and so we could just be on our own a great deal.
Now, are you guys the only ones who went the Hollywood direction, and everybody else is responsible and has 401k? You know, that whole deal.
right.
Yeah, Bob was the one who was really interested in entertainment industry in general.
Yeah.
But no, Bob was into improv and all that stuff at an early age, and I kind of, you know, we were very close and still are. I was into science and I pursued a chemistry degree.
Yeah, could you unpack that a bit, because there's a huge difference between getting your BA in chemistry and then getting your master's PhD, discovering a new molecule,
Yeah, no,
and then going to comedy.
Yeah,
what's up with that?
What
is up
while
with
I
that?
was while I was in graduate school, or before I hit graduate school, Bob had gone to Saturday Night Live, and which was, you know, really exciting for him and for me too, because it was the first time I went to New York was to see him at Saturday Night Live and hang out. And so, you know, Bob included me in a lot of his writing and what he was doing at the time. So I got a taste of writing and meeting a lot of great writers, Conan O'Brien, Robert Smigel. These are big names. Obviously Conan, everyone knows, but you know, it was a safe way for me to kind of leave science and go into writing and comedy. which I really loved, and I'm really grateful for what Bob did.
Look,
to
Bill
me.
helped
Yeah.
me a lot too, because so when Robert Smigel, a famous Saturday Night Live writer and a famous comedy writer of our time, one of the greats, he would rely on me. We had been roommates in Chicago, and I would help him. When I went to Saturday Night Live, I'm relying on Bill as a voice outside of the show who has time and interest to sit around and hear my bullshit and also pitch me his bullshit.
Yeah, so it was a gradual process, as crazy as it sounds. But still, when I got out to Hollywood and was working at The Simpsons, and Futurama was another show I'm still writing for, a lot of those people had advanced science degrees or law degrees from like Harvard and Yale.
That The Simpsons, and in particular The Simpsons and Futurama, are two shows that I would be curious someone to find out the advanced degrees at those two shows. How many people at those two shows have doctorates?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people with law degrees, as I said, too. A lot of people.
Law makes more sense, though, because it's about logic and it's about language. And so I get that connection to comedy.
Yeah.
A lawyer almost, is paid to think around a problem or to turn something inside out.
Yeah.
And that's what you do as a comedian,
Yeah.
right? So that
Right.
makes sense. Chemistry, not so much, and the others, not so much, but they exist. It's real.
What do you think, and this is a question that's been on my mind since I moved back here 7 years ago, what do you think of good, solid Midwest upbringing? What is it about this area, this state, the people that you meet that you've taken with you that adds to your success today? I know it's a weird kind of expansive question, but
There's
Midwesterners.
a lot of comedy comes out of Chicago, right? I mean, look at all the great Saturday Night Live performers and stand-ups too, who came from Chicago.
I think you have a humility. When you live in the Midwest, you feel, obviously Second City is the name for a theater, and it's a name that was borrowed from a name for Chicago, the Second City. You're the underdog. And as a result, you have a suspicious chip on your shoulder towards all the whatever's happening, whatever's hype and happening, and that's good for comedy, because that's what comedy does. Comedy undermines. Growing up here lends itself to that look at that perspective on the world that wants to poke at the world and doesn't take things seriously.
To turn that around, why do you guys, it might be a good time to step back and, why do you continue to do comedy?
To bother people with our comedy?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
why do you continue to poke and nudge?
You could be discovering another molecule or,
Right.
retiring in the...
Because it's fun, you laugh.
It is fun, and I think, look, I mean, I don't write particularly political material, but I think that anything you're writing is examining something important or maybe even mundane in life that you have a question about or it bothers you, usually just irritates you. And so
as long as there are irritating things in the world, there's comedy.
Yeah.
So please
we'll
keep
have jobs.
irritating us. Nobody quits show business. You can't.
Show business quits people.
Yeah, but show business quits you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. May I ask next projects, what you're working on, what's coming up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I had a movie just 3 days ago play at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, a real fun movie, a comedy action film called Normal. So that's done. That'll hopefully come out next year. And then I have a documentary. I climbed Machu Picchu with my old comedy partner, David Cross. And it's a documentary about friendship, really, with a lot of comedy thrown in and a little bit of history and a lot of huffing and puffing. And so that hopefully will play somewhere. It'll be available next year. We're cutting it together now. I'm working on a show that my son wrote. He's a funny writer, and I'm going to develop a few more films. I'm going to take a break because I've sort of worked straight for about 1.5 years, 2 years. I did a Broadway show. I did 2 movies. I did the documentary and other things. So I'm going to just take a break and do that thing where you ask yourself, what do I want to put out there now? And I do know I'm going to try at a couple more action films because, strangely enough, it has just been very fun. It's really fun to pretend to beat up a lot of people.
Yeah, it looks pretty painful. I watched Nobody and ouch.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's really fun to do.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you ever get actually hit?
Oh, I wanted to ask that as well.
No.
Sorry, I'm jumping out of you.
No.
The truth is, the stunt guys that are around you are incredible pros, and their job is, number one, to make sure you're safe. That's their number one job, and then number two is to make you look good. And so
they should work harder.
They
I got it.
but I'll tell you, they wouldn't do it. But I would almost hit them sometimes because I'm a little less skilled than them. But they even catch that. They're just sort of very alert. And
it's their job.
You must get bruised.
The only way you get hurt, you get bruised a little bit. Oftentimes you hit your hands on things because when you go to the actual set, it's very often dimension-wise not quite exactly what you trained in. When you train with, they set up cardboard boxes where the walls will be, and but then when you're at a real place, there's like pipes and stuff that wasn't there, and so my experience, now I've made 3 action films, is that when I get hurt, I usually hit my hands on something that wasn't really a part of the dimensions that we practiced in. It's no big deal.
So my projects.
Yes.
Yes, right. I'm working on. I just finished the latest season of Futurama, which I'm writing from here, from Champaign, with other writers. But that's the blessing of Zoom has been that, as a writer, you can live pretty much anywhere. We have a couple of writers for Futurama live in L.A. One lives in upstate Washington. One lives in North Carolina and Nova Scotia. And we all meet on Zoom. So it's been fantastic.
We wrote a project together about a year and a half ago.
With David Cross.
Really a great project that did not make it all the way to the screen because all the reasons that things get killed, but it's a really good one. But that sadly was purchased and then killed. But we'll do more together.
Yeah.
Well, Bill's got the right idea. You can write from home. No wildfires.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
Wait a second.
No LA?
This is called Prairie Fire.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
Touche.
I can't believe you
Bob Odenkirk.
do a show that is celebrating the worst thing that can happen in the Midwest.
Prairie
To
Fire,
remind you of the very worst thing that could happen.
for your information, it is about the fire that we Midwesterners had, the
metaphorical.
creative fire.
Well,
that
could
burns.
you call it the metaphorical Prairie Fire so that we know that?
That's just awkward.
You think that's too long?
Bob and Bill Odenkirk, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.